Yo, guys. So, a couple of people have asked me to make like video just specifically on seconds entries, right? Um, because yeah, I think it's still fucking a lot of people, which isn't what we want, obviously. Um, so yeah, I guess we have a couple of different scenarios where we can play. Well, maybe three or four different scenarios where we can play seconds entries, right? So okay, let's look at a couple of those different scenarios, right? One would be a trade like this here, right? Um, okay, so if we figure out what we've got going for us at this point, right? We have, I guess that's M15 structure there. Let's have a look. Yeah, M15 structure there. Right, so we have a break of structure here. Where are we? What's up? Right, we have another break of structure here. Right, we have another break of structure here. Actually, maybe this is a better trade to look at. Yeah. So we have confirmed bullish order flow. Sorry, bullish structure at this point, right? On M15, creating higher lows, right, and protecting those higher lows. Right, we also have bullish M15 order flow. We're protecting all of these larger ranges, right? And we don't have a change of character in here, right? So now our job is to just look at relevant demand zones, right? So these buy to sell wicks here, right? And see whether we can refine these to anything better, right? That's there. Yeah, see if we can refine these to 1M candles, right? And that's a very important part of trading the seconds, is understanding that we're only ever trading it from 1M areas, right? That's it, nothing else, right? So yeah, here we can see that we've got those wicks there, right? And we can refine this to one really nice doji here, right? So in theory, if we get a seconds reaction from this, right, we can trade trade continuation from there, right? Again, with such a heavy retrace as that, I'd always like to see a chotch and a flip, right? So we can see here we get a little change of character, but we get no flip, right? So I wouldn't want to take that personally, right? What I would be looking at is, okay, cool, here is my last supply range. Right, and we'll see how we react to that. But remember here, the key is, right, bullish M15 structure, bullish M15 order flow, right? So I suppose if we're looking at it like this, what we're seeing is bullish M15 structure and order flow, right? So we're just trying to catch this higher low, right? So we can wait here, because we've got M15 on our side, we can wait for very low time frame confirmations, right? We don't even have to wait for 1M to do this, right? And then we can trade that continuation, right? So that's all we're looking for now, is like a lower time frame to a line. Okay, cool, we push into the supply range, right? We still need to take out the supply range, right? We have had a change in character here, so we could, in theory, trade something like that, but yeah. Right, cool, so we get a reaction, right? Here's the reaction, here's the last push down. You could even take these wicks here as like part of your range, as that is the final reaction to that, right? So here, like for me, I'm just looking at when price comes back down into there, and I can get anything like a 1 pip stop and be reasonably safe, right? I would class reasonably, yeah, I mean, this is to a degree risky, but you've got this here, right? You've got this little demand level here, so I'd be thinking, cool, well, this didn't break anything, right? The break came from here, so yeah, that's safe for me, right? And then we can just go and see what price does, and off it goes. right? But we've had that sequence of events and we're all aligned, right? Like here, all we need to come back into alignment is 1M, right? We've got M15 and seconds on our side, so likely we can expect that this high is going to be weak and end up getting taken, right? Cool, so that's like the most high probability entry you can get, right? Now we'll look at a couple of other different trades where maybe they're not quite the same. So we can look at more confirmations, right? So let's take, where's a good example? Do you know what? The short yesterday was a great example of this, right? Okay, so if we are up here, right? Okay, so now what have we got on our side, right? Well, not much, right? We have a higher low on 4H. It's formed equal low, so yeah, like it could always be a target if we break this high and pull back down into that range, something like that, right? But essentially we're very bullish at this point in time, right? We've just broken, like, well, we've just traded above major structure over here, right? Like this is like really fucking major shit, right? So there's going to be a lot of liquidity above that, and yeah, we can potentially trade a reaction with like against everything, right? Because we've had a significant event, right? This is the key, like the significance of the event, right? Major structure, major equal highs, you know, previous like Asian liquidity, whatever you want to call it. There's, you know, we can just see here, right, that we've had all of this liquidity here has all been taken out, right? So likely we're going to get some form of a reaction, right? So here, and this does come from a valid mitigation, right? So here we can say, okay, cool, well, let's be a little bit safer, right? And wait, like this is a perfect example of using seconds after a 1M change of character to reconfirm that change of character, right? So we've had this change of character here. What am I looking for it down? Yeah, so we've got our whole last previous supply range, right? And this is where seconds can be good and bad, right? Look, here's one refined POI. Right, and here's this is 2M. Right, this candle here is a 2M bullish candle. Right, so here we've got a couple of different levels, right? So we've had 1M change of character, we've run a previous high, we can expect a pullback, we've had a change of character, we have a flip in here as well. This is respected, right? Yes, it forms equal highs, but you know, that's life. But yeah, here, cool. Right, so here we get a chotch and a flip, right? Equal highs get taken out. Right, chotch and flip here. Let's mark all this up so you can see it nice and clearly. Right. But we're trading from a 1M level again, right? So if we get seconds realigned, we can take that trade. Right, chotch down. Right, so yeah, you'd already be in here, right? Because price comes like wicks below, gives you a chotch and flip, blah, blah, blah. There's your entry, right? Cool. Again, for me, I'm only going to use 1 pip stop because I like to get my risk off fast, right? So I'm risk off there. Yeah, or you use Damon's math and all of that sort of shit, but there you go, risk off, right? Cool, trade doesn't play out eventually. But this is where it's important to realise that we still have this valid level above. It hasn't been mitigated, so we can watch there too, right? Okay, cool. So what's happened here? Price is pushed in. Does it give us, technically it gives us a change of character there, but it doesn't really push properly inside. I wonder if this one plays out. I'd probably want a little bit more confirmation than that, to be honest, yeah. Just because I don't like the way this is formed, right? There's been no real liquidity grab into the POI, so this high is likely to be used as liquidity, and you could use a sell stop below this, right? Because we have these equal lows here, we have like this sort of minor trend line liquidity been built, right? Or you can wait for more confirmation, right? Watch price on the way down. Okay, cool. There's our last supply range. Right, and you see what we're doing here? We're just trading again from a refined level. We're not trading in the middle of nowhere, right? It's always from refined levels, right? Okay, cool. Price doesn't reach that, so we create a new supply range. Now we need to go and validate this range quickly. Yeah, this range forms from here. I know this is 3M because I took this trade. But yeah, and we can still wait for confirmations, right? We don't because right now, right, we can expect that this low is weak. It's failed to break swing structure up here, right? So what we can expect, because his where's your swing low? Swing low would be here. That yeah, maybe it has, but yeah. Yeah, so anyway, we can wait and watch for this, right? Price does this, comes back into this range, right? And we can still just wait for confirmation, right? Cool, change of character, we can literally get in here, right? We can just hit that. I mean, even there, if you can get your stop above the high, yeah, I'd be happy enough to take that personally. And yeah, off price goes, right? Because we have another change of character here, right? I mean, even you just wait for the push back up in, so it's safer. But yeah, that's all it is, right? Is trading from those levels and just waiting, right? I mean, it says it all on the flowchart, right? It's you should only be taking seconds trades, right, from like 1M confirmations, right? If you run a high, stuff like that, right? Wait for the 1M, then trade from those 1M levels on seconds, or you wait for everything to be pro trend, and then you take those trades, right? If we go and look, down here again, right? Price comes down, right? We bounce into this, right? This is 16M, I think, right? But we just run liquidity again, but we've got bearish M15 structure and, well, yeah, you fucking very bearish M15 order flow at that point in time, right? So again, we can just wait and see what happens, right? So again, what do we have, right? So here we get 1M chotch like above this, right? No flip yet, so we wait on 1M for that flip, right? Because we're against everything again, right? So we need to see more confirmations, right? So cool, we've had chotch. Now we get the flip here, so really we're looking at like something within this range, right? We don't really necessarily know what it is yet, but we can just watch the 5S again, and we can say, okay, well, what happens? Where do we get our next change in character from? Take low. Well, there's our change of character. Does price come back down into this or not? I'd be hesitant to take that. That doesn't even come to it. But yeah, we can just keep an eye on price, see what it's doing. Alright, cool. We come back into this level again, see what it does hit. I mean, here we've had our change of character. Yeah, here we get some kind of a flip, like this little thing here. Right, so in theory, I wonder whether this actually holds or not. I haven't back tested this trade. Just get wigged out of that. That would frustrate me immensely. But if you were a bit clever and waited for a deeper retest, but yeah. Like, this is the problem with seconds entries as well, and using 1 pip stop. Like, if you're in here, you're going to be annoyed if you've been clever and actually got filled here, which, well, if you were waiting for the retest of this, that is about where you get filled, to be fair, because you try and hit it on the drop towards you. So yeah, but again, you've got a change of character, right? sorry, here to here, right? And then you get a flip within here, right? This hits this, rejects, response, right? So yeah, there's another entry, but that's just waiting for more 1M confirmation, right? You could even wait for this high to go, really, right? And what happens after this high goes? Okay, we take that high now. Yeah, so now we can look within like this range here. Right, ideally here we want to wait for a 1M thing as well, which we don't get. Here we get another 1M thing. See what happens down here. What would we be looking for? So yeah, really we could refine this to this. Now you see the last sell to buy breaks high. Right, so we can just wait in here, see what we get. We get trotch here, no flip. Okay, price comes in. I'd be half. I mean, I hit this down here just because I was having a good day, so fuck it. But yeah, you could use a buy stop above this. Right, this is a great example of it. Respects the last supply level. Right, you have a pool of liquidity that can pull price away from you. Right, so use a buy stop, and there you go. You're risk free. Right, see if the trade plays out. Guess it does. But yeah, you see what I mean? Like, we're just confirming these 1M levels again. That's it, right? That's all we're doing, is we're just trading these 1M levels. We're not trying to hit the seconds down here, right? Because we're against everything, right? That's not a place you want to be trading seconds on, right? You want to wait until you've got some confirmation. I guess that's the best way to describe it, right? Wait until you've got a 1M level that doesn't in itself need to be confirmed, if that makes sense. And then you can hit that, or wait for 1M to confirm, and then you can trade that, right? You can trade the confirmation of the 1M level. And that's how, I mean, that's how I get such small stops all the time, right? It's just down to shit like that. But yeah, I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, feel free to hit me up with any questions. I'll happily make another video about it if any of that doesn't make sense. But yeah, cool. Alright guys, have a good one. Bye.